Aloha and kumusta kayo amin. Welcome to MoNKeeZ Anime Analysis, where we discuss certain themes of anime to shed some light on why anime is so appealing to its global audience. To help us with our discussion today, we have Brent. Am I saying it correctly, Brent?
Oh no, yeah, no worries. Brent's the second name. It's actually Brian, but no worries, no
Oh,
worries. Brent.
Brian. Brian, if you could please introduce yourself, talk a little about yourself, name, ethnic background, your nationality, what you're studying, your major, and what you liked about anime, how long you've been watching it.
Okay, Raja,
Yeah.
thank you. Hi, aloha everyone. My name is Brian Kealoha Oviso Hutchinson. Brian is my official name. Brian Kealoha is the full first name. And then Brent is actually just like a nickname, yeah, like because plenty people when they first call my name, they say Brent, but totally fine like that. Sometimes some folks call me Brian, and so it's like it doesn't ring to it.
Mm.
My background is generally speaking, I'm multiracial. But if I'm gonna break it down, I would say I have six or seven, but the most dominance would be me, being African American, slash Black, Hawaiian, Native Hawaiian, and then Filipino, specifically Visayan. And my other ethnic backgrounds would be English, some Chinese, Native American. I believe it's Cherokee, and then I have a bit of Spanish too that comes from the Filipino side. A lot of mixed sport here in Hawaii.
Mhm.
Everybody's at least whether you're mixed or not like that. Hey, welcome you to the flock like that. We're all equals here.
Yeah,
Law.
thank you for that. You have a lot
No,
of ethnic background. It's hard to pinpoint your culture then, huh?
right, big
Right?
time. Yes. Sometimes it can be tricky. I cannot just say this one thing. So when I was younger, maybe I had like that little conflict, but then as I got out, I say, you know what? Like saying this saying, oh, I'm just this one or these two,
Mhm.
all of them like that. Because how I'm going to be ashamed and going to deny, oh, I'm not this like that. That's my ethnic brand. Now, despite I may not know everything because I can't even speak fluently with none of my native tongues, but just to acknowledge that and to embrace that like that really that I live up to every
Mhm.
day. I get up in the morning and then you just love it, and then no matter who you are like that, you're just knowing where you come from. Everybody has a story to tell. We come from everybody comes from the process of generation over and over like that, so everybody has a vast history. Thank you. And then continuing on for anime, I've been watching that whole long time. It's a funny thing. I was watching even before I knew the actual tone for it. I thought, oh, this is cartoons and stuff. But then
Yeah.
like, oh, cartoons, anime, oh, the two different things. Because as we know, your anime hails from Japan, and then
Mhm.
your cartoons, you're usually like the Western terminology for seeing animated your type of series of your stories you're being
Yeah.
told. Same thing your anime too, but it has its respectful characteristics. I've been watching it for as long as maybe 2006. Because when I was a bit younger, I used to stay up a little bit later. I know I'm not supposed to be doing this, but sometimes I saw like Swim, and
Mhm.
wow, they had some really great animes such as like Inuyasha,
Yeah.
Bleach. Then they had Space. Is it Space Boy called Biba? Space Cowboy? Space Cowboy.
Cowboy Bebop, I think it's just
Yeah,
called.
Cowboy Bebop. Yeah,
Yeah.
that one. I know. I'm mixing up. It's been so long, and these are some
Yeah.
like old
No
school,
worries,
like
but
Samurai
you're
Champloo.
pretty Samurai Champloo. Yeah, I
Yeah,
watched that one too. That was a while ago. You would say you're pretty versed in anime, right? You dove into the culture of anime, which is Japanese culture,
oh
correct?
yes.
What would you say kept you interested in anime? Because there's Western cartoons, but you kept watching anime. What was pulling you more towards anime?
I think that anime was more, there's a lot more realism. Not cutting down Western, there is a significant difference of how the sketches are drawn like that. Both are respected for the artistry, but I would say anime to me, it just had a realism. But also, from a young age, I also know that anime had, whew, if they talk about violence like that, like, whoa, they are not afraid. They go like,
Yeah.
not 100%, they go 110%. So, like, wow, no shackles there. It's just like, if we're going to show violence, we're not going to be afraid to show. I'm like, whoa.
So on that note, you mentioned Bleach. That's more of a action anime. There's a lot of fighting, a lot of violence.
Oh,
So
right.
under that category, that subcategory would be shonen. That would appeal to younger men or teenage boys and below. Uh, Not to say that it's not for adults as well, but it was appealing. It's more catered towards that age group.
Wow,
Yeah,
I didn't know that. Thank you.
yeah.
That's in depth.
That's why we grew up with that. That's why we are so like it caught our attention and why we keep watching some more of it. But um, on that note, because we watched that, where did you watch that? Did you watch that on Cartoon Network?
Yeah, yeah, Adult
Yeah.
Swim, like, and I'm so sorry for Bleach. Like, those are just some of the animes. Like,
Yeah.
um, Bleach, I watched a little bit about it, but Naruto used to be on Cartoon Network. It was one of the
Hmm.
last series that they would show before Adult Swim would transition for the late
Yeah.
audience. Naruto actually was one of the first that really got me into it because
It's a
I
really
mean
great
that's cool. Like you
anime.
had the ninjas that
Hmm.
had these like superhuman powers too, like with the
Yeah.
shoes and all. So that was very enticing for me and
Yeah.
very attractive. But the story was in depth too, and it was very mature at its time. Not saying
Yeah.
that cartoons and animes now are not mature, but just talking about Naruto specifically, and because it was one of the animes that I grew up with the most and for the longest. It was mature, but you could still understand what it
Hmm.
was, what it was saying, what was being delivered.
Yeah. Exactly. And that's an awesome answer. Thank you,
Oh,
Brent. Brian, sorry,
yeah,
Brian.
yeah, no worries, no worries.
I'm gonna move on to my next question. So I had you watch an episode of I think it's called Haikyuu, the anime.
Yes.
So have you watched it before I asked you to watch it?
No, I have not. But
Oh,
and then you're gonna laugh too, because I finally I actually got off work earlier today, so I had time to watch quite a few episodes. I actually watched 1 through 4, and let
oh
me tell you, it was
yes.
great. I loved it. I loved it because it just to be very concise,
Mhm,
there's a story of determination, right? Like humble
mhm.
beginnings, sense of determination, and also for the characters like working together. But again, that's just a very concise answer for now before we dive more in depth to it.
Yeah. So no, thank you for that. So an example of a motivational goals. Our theme for this video is motivational goals. I tied it into this anime because they had to essentially work together to accomplish a greater goal, essentially. And um, I tied it into my work life previously, where I used to work, where I myself had to figure out strategy to work among my coworkers and I guess my team, because I used to work in construction and I used to be a journeyman. One of the journeyman used to be our I guess the supervisors for job sites in certain areas, or maybe you call them foremen sometimes. But I had teams of people where some people knew how to do more of or had more experience than you, like second years or first year's apprentices, right? So I tied it into my work experience to this anime. I was like, oh yeah, that's how I had to think. I had to um how I say maybe the main characters, Shoyo and Tobio, right? Tobio is the guy that I guess resonated with a lot because he what did they call them in the anime? I don't know if you remember. You just watched it this way.
Yeah, yeah, I just watched it.
Yeah,
So I
yeah,
know the main characters' names,
yeah.
Hinata and then Kageyama.
Mhm.
I
They
know,
would
like
they
some
gave
kind
him
of
a nickname on the court. They would call
oh
him,
yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah,
Little Giant for Hinata. Or and then King of the Court was
yeah,
um
Tobio,
yes,
Kageyama. Yeah.
Kageyama. Yes, yes,
Why
and
did they call him the king?
ooh, so I thought I would say like, oh, this is the hot shot on the court. All of that was true, but then when the other guy came, I forget his name. Dude had your glasses, your and blonde hair too. But
Mhm.
guy was real slick with his language. Like he can make he was making the characters mad. But
Yeah.
anyway, they call him Kageyama, the king of the court, because of his oppressive and egocentric nature. They call him the egocentric king because, like, okay, I know I'm a team, but I want to be spot on. I want to
Mhm.
be the main person getting the shots because, but I believe the position was in the middle. It's the person that takes the brunt of the volleyball hits, even catches. Sorry, I'm really bad with
No, no, no,
volleyball.
no,
I
no.
believe it's the steal or the stall, that position. Like,
I
I'm bad.
forgot
I'm
his
bad.
I forgot his position, but he pretty much was the captain, right? He called out where people were supposed to go, and he would set up everyone for the shots, right? So
Definitely.
I felt like I was Tobio, and I was the person on the job site calling the shots. You go here, I need this done by the end of the day. You need to work faster. You're doing it wrong. That kind of thing. That's all I heard out of Tobio's head in the anime. I was like, man, I was thinking like this same thing, like in my job. Like, oh man, I don't have like competent workers to work with, but you work with what you got, right? But I didn't have his rudeness. He demanded a lot from his workers. Um, for me, I didn't resonate with that too well because I don't want to be stepping on anybody's toes at
Oh
work.
yeah, yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
you know what I mean. Like, I'm very passive that way. That way, I don't want them to mess up my job site either. But going back to the anime, why are our Shoyo and Tobio always arguing?
Ah, so definitely
They're the two main
covered.
characters.
Yes, yes, we
Yeah.
covered a bit of Kageyama, right?
Hmm.
Kageyama having this egocentric and oppressive nature dominating the quad, and then you had this newcomer, Soyo, in other words, Hinata Soyo,
Hmm.
um, a newcomer, but who's really enthusiastic of volleyball and really want to make it to the nationals and even make a name for himself. But in a way, a little bit egocentric too, but not heavy. Not It's hard to say egocentric more because one, he's a little bit younger and you're new, but more like the newbie character archetype. Um,
Yes.
but but Hinata was very agile and fast. Physically, you're gifted, yeah, and that. And even King of
Yes.
the Court, Kageyama, admitted that like this might be a newcomer, but this youngster got potential, just not harnessed yet or honed your the skills yet.
Hmm.
And part of the reason why the two are fighting because besides your age gap too, like that, I believe they're just like off by one age.
Yeah.
I think. Height, you could even talk about that too. They're always making gags with each other, like, oh, okay, you're taller than me, and I'm shorter. That's why you call me the little giant, or that's why I like my name. To be
Hmm.
that, but it's the philosophies of going here with volleyball. Um, Both are correct and both are wrong at the same time.
Yeah.
We talk about Kogeyama first. Yes, you gotta give out orders. You gotta concentrate, and you gotta be in it to win it. Now that's true. Some of the classic year things in any sport or any game. The problem is though, is Kogeyama is being too egotistic about it,
Yeah.
like too self-centered. Like it's all about me. I want to get the fame. It's okay if I have you folks
Mhm.
help. But even quoting from Kageyama, he says, I only need essentials to win. And telling that to Hinata Ryosoyo, who was the newbie, say, and you are not essential right now. So it's saying, oh, you can see that. Oh, you're only gonna like me if I good because okay, I helping you, but it's just you're feeding up your ego and that you want to win the game solely handed, even though you know they have a your team too.
Mhm.
So that's when Kogeyama goes wrong there. Too
Yeah.
egotistic, too self-centered, narrow-minded. Then
Yes.
for Soil, he is a newcomer like that, and holds a lot of potential. The fiery spirit of being the newbie, also determination that I'm not going to give up. I want to become great. I want to hone my skills, and which is
Mhm.
good. Anybody should possess your those skills or you hone those skills. The bad thing, however, is and Shoyo even mentions this. It's how to harness and hone his skills, and it was hard because not a lot of people he had were professional volleyball players. They were volleyball players, but he had to kind of jump group to group. Even your pool friends and say like, hey, help me, become better in the sport like that.
Mhm.
Um, and even when Kogeyama's team and Hinata's team, Hinata Soyo, and your Kageyama's team, your both clash. Kageyama's team was just a bit more experienced than Hinata's team. Um, but anyway,
They were having a hard time, right? With just
right,
one
right,
ace player, because
exactly,
the rest of Hinata's team was a little less than average, I would say, right?
true.
So like having that one ace player against above average players, and they were almost like even matched. Kageyama was pissed, right? He was mad. As like, wow, you guys aren't even trying. Like, but they were, and they weren't trying to listen to him either. But we'll get that's I don't want to dive into that too much. But you were saying something?
Oh yeah, no, no worries. Thank you, thank you. No, no, I appreciate the insights like that. Definitely, I'm a little bit more to Hanata's point and then combining the two and why they're fighting.
Mhm.
So because Hanata is so new to volleyball, really wants to be great, but having a hard time to have like a mentor, right? Being with the right people, and not saying you're like people were mean to him, not really, but like people who truly want to be in volleyball.
Mhm.
Um, Now when combining the two, why Hanata, the youngster, and Kogeyama, you're a little bit older than him, King of the Court, you're his
Yeah.
nickname. Why they clashes? They have clashing ideas of how to become professionals, how to become better on the court.
Mhm.
And then, as I mentioned earlier, both are correct with the statements, as I mentioned previously with Kageyama and Hanata, but at the same time, both of them wrong. And what was interesting was the new team in high school. Some of the members were mentioning to him, like, wait a minute, you folks are both good in the respective areas. But if you
Mhm.
can combine it together like that, that's when they become
Okay.
unstoppable. Now the two are still fighting
Yeah.
about, but eventually they start to see the picture.
Okay. That was my next question. That was the follow up to the next question. What did they have to do? What did Shoyo and Tobio have to do to be accepted into that volleyball team? That was
Ah,
that's moving on to the second episode, I believe. What did they have to do?
so for Shoya and Toby, very reluctant to work with each other, both of them.
Oh, they had
Uh,
to work with each
like
other.
that. Yes, they're
That's
very
crazy, right?
reluctant. Like this, okay, we'll work together, but I'm only doing it so we can go and practice and make sure
Mhm.
that we have a place on this team. But I'm still gonna distance myself from you. So that was actually one of the biggest things. And then plus I say plus sorry that Kageyama's team you beat Hinata's team. Well, in other words, Soyu's team was beaten by Toby's team.
Yeah.
And then that left a mark like, oh yeah, I'm
Yeah.
gonna beat you, man. I'm gonna beat you. And then it's kind of like a rivalry, not a friendly one though. More of
Mhm.
a like, I want to beat this guy.
Yeah.
And I want to be top dog. And then vice versa. Toby was
Oh,
saying, hey, I want to do the same thing too.
on that note, when the first time Hinata lost, Shoyo, did he give up?
No, no, no.
No.
Very, very persistent.
I remember he chased after Tobio after the tournament. What did he do?
Oh, you don't have fuss. I thought he was going to scrap, you know.
I thought they were gonna
Come on,
fight too.
hey, I might lose, but I still can lick you outside,
Yeah.
huh?
I was about to say the same thing too. Like, okay, I
but
thought they were gonna fight for real.
true,
But
true. But I
Shoyo was
felt
like,
bad. Right, right. I felt bad because then you saw Hinata Soil going up to Toby Kogeyama and just standing there. He went down the stairs and looking at Kogeyama and saying that I'm gonna beat you, and like he had like tears coming in his eyes. So I'm like,
yeah,
whoa, like that's determination, like
that's
that.
determination.
Like
Yeah,
some people should like, oh hey, you're soft. You're like, no, that's not true. That's when you're crying like that, that's sincere, like that. You're fire like that. Because some say,
yeah,
oh, I'm gonna beat you. Okay, I'm gonna beat you. But when you see someone like have tears like that, mad, you have rage like that, they
passion.
passion is
Yeah.
burning like
So
that.
I think I might be wrong because I'm further down in the season. I think I'm in season 3. Did he look up to Kageyama before they challenged? He did, right? I'm not too
Hmm.
sure. Oh shoot, there's only 10 minutes left.
No, no, noise, noise.
Okay.
Hmm. I'm not too sure because they both got accepted to the same high school,
Yeah.
and Hinata Soy was so happy. Going to go with the volleyball team here.
Okay.
Come to find out, like, oh man, the guy I didn't like, Toby
Yeah.
Kageyama, this dude is here and playing volleyball too. Like, no.
Okay. I want to get down to the rest of the questions. Sorry, I don't want to cut you off.
Man, no way.
Uh, do any of the characters have magical powers in this anime?
Yes,
They
Hanata for
do?
sure.
No, 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 no,
Maybe,
no, no,
maybe,
no.
maybe, maybe
It's
not
not.
like the kind like supernatural type of stuff like
Yeah.
that. But more like, I guess if we look at the metaphorical sense, with the
I
speed.
guess to refine let me refine my question. Do people shoot lightning bolts out their hands in this anime?
No, no, no,
Do they cast magic spells?
no, no, no.
No. So in essence, it deals with the real world situations, correct? Right?
Yes,
So it's easier to connect with this sort of anime because there's no magic, there's no spell casting involved, there's no potions to drink, right? So you would have to, you're dealing with almost, because they're in high school, everyone's been through high school as well. You can relate to it. You can sympathize, you can empathize with the characters. So it's easy to get pulled in by the story because it's almost as like real people. The realism, like we discussed at the beginning, how you said it, the realism in this anime just draws you in. Moving on to the next question. What lessons would you take away after watching this anime?
oh for sure. Putting in differences on the side, but when we say that, gotta be more concise about that. You can maintain who you are, but changes and improvements can always appear. And at times it must appear, it must happen. So
Oh,
despite
it's a powerful message, bro.
oh yes, thank
Yeah,
you, thank you, thank
yeah.
you. Despite the two came up with the wrong footing, and not the soil, Toby Kageyama didn't
Mhm.
like each other, right? Because very competitive, very traditional rivalry, your standard,
Yeah,
your sense of idea of volleyball. Um,
but
they
sometimes that's
slow,
needed, right?
yes, yes,
Yeah.
definitely, definitely. And at the same time, slowly understand what is your strengths, what is your weaknesses, how can we work together to better refine not only our strengths, but acknowledge our weaknesses as well, and how we can even use our weaknesses in certain circumstances as well. For instance, Hanata didn't have the height, but Hinata
Yeah,
had the speed like that.
and he could jump.
Yes,
He
yes,
could
he could
jump.
jump. He could jump. Kageyama, on the other hand, wasn't as fast
No.
as Sonata, but was very good with his, serves and hits, yeah, and blocks. Because
Blocks.
again, he had the height, he had
He had the strategy, didn't he?
the strategy too, the
He
strategy too.
had the plan. Hinata, no, he didn't really have a game plan. He was really
Very
good at shooting, slapping the ball, but without that, you need specific tools, your teammates per se, to conquer, to overcome. So you cannot be just this one man in the team. You need to work together, essentially, right? That's
as a
I
whole.
that's what I
Well
believe
said,
this
well said.
yeah, that's what I believe the message was for coming from, I guess, episode 1 and 2, because they had to come together despite their conflicting beliefs, right? They had to work
Definitely.
together because they both want to get into the volleyball team. So that comes back to the theme that for this video, this motivational goal they had to work together to become better athletes. We really worked to this theme that I was working on. So I'm glad that you brought up all the good points, and then I wanted to speak more, but like you were bringing it all up. I was like, oh, they're very good answers.
No, no,
I
my
don't need
bad
to
too.
speak.
I'm
Oh, no,
sorry.
no,
And
no,
then I
no,
didn't realize
no,
about the time here too. So that's my fault like that.
no, 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 no.
And then that's good. No, no, because that's good that sometimes like we got a lot of insights, but we gotta get back on the track too. Because like we can talk story for hours, but
Oh,
I
right
know
on.
the time. But no worries, you're good. You're good.
Okay, final question. To the best of your knowledge, among all the characters introduced in the anime, who do you resonate with most? And explain.
Oh, that's a good one.
I
Gotta
mean,
be.
I mean, you watched episode 1 through 4. I know who the characters are. I think I do, but right now, who do you think you resonate or connect with the most?
Gotta be Hanata Soyo, the younger one, because
Yeah.
um the that fiery spirit, the passion,
Mhm,
wanting to do something, in this case, wanting to be a great participant in playing volleyball
mhm,
and being perseverant of how to get there. Despite I only watched like the early episodes of the first season, like that, I could see that theme and not. I could understand Kageyama's your theme too, because sometimes I can be a bit overbearing. In other words,
mhm,
overbearing at times that if there's no commanding structure, there's no structure, right? There's no plans. Not being mean, but because we are running out of time and there's chaos all around us, sometimes someone gotta take a stand. And Kageyama, in some cases, that is very understandable and needs to happen. However, on the other hand, when it goes to extreme excessiveness,
yeah.
that becomes problematic, especially when working with team members, because now, okay, that's cool. You're calling out the shots and we have structure, but it's too rigid. We don't have time to breathe. It's like we cannot move without your call, in which we can actually make a move when it's actually really necessary, but we can't do it without your call. So that's when Kageyama goes wrong there. And then going back to Hinata, it's good to have the fiery spirit, but also planning out your strategies like that, because not all the time you can run without a game plan. You can, but that's rare circumstances. You gotta have a game plan, strategy, and a
Mhm.
plan.
All right. Thank you. Awesome answer, Brian. Good to have you here. Thank you for taking time out of your busy schedule, busy life. I know your 2 part-time jobs. I didn't know that,
Oh
by the
yeah,
way.
no
Um,
worries, no worries.
thank you. I would like to, okay, we're going to close this out. Um, thank you for watching. Thank my guest, Brian, for being here tonight. Thank you for watching MoNKeeZ Anime Analysis. All right, see you in the next one.
Raja, you folks take care now.